hello. This is my first time. I'm new here. So anyways, we are welcome to the ADHD Express. I'm your host, Brian Carlson. Today we've got a very special guest with us. We'll talk about him in just a minute. We were going to recap on our book, and I was going to actually have one of the guys in the peyote ceremony come on, but he had a big... We'll revisit the Fifth Agreement.
But, well, actually, that'd probably be damn perfect. It'll line right up
when it actually comes out. Great. So now, I guess, well, you guys all know Joe. Joe Osmond's here with us today. Daniel's here. I don't know if he's recording or not, but he's some technical difficulties. But we'll add in. We'll in here later. And then we got our guest. We got John Bennett, my friend. John and I have known each other since about the third, maybe the fourth grade. It's been a long time, man. That you remember the fourth grade? That was like the longest 3 years of our lives. Just kidding. But no, anyway, so John is...
Yeah, it was, man. I felt like I got to go back.
Yeah, John runs a local business here in Cache Valley. He owns Cache Valley Tattoo and Piercing. They are the place to go and get tattoos and piercings.
Do you guys have social media?
I believe that there's a Facebook page.
Okay, so we believe that there is a Facebook page, Cache Valley Tattoo. We'll try to link those.
I'm not really on it. I kind of just shoot from the hip with that stuff, man. Like I have a bunch of people that I tattoo, and I don't really have to. I should market. I definitely should. I have to move my business to a different location.
They just added the bookings in the online social media apps, so you can book right from the app, so people can have inspiration buys.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm probably gonna have to move my spot. Well, yeah, because I think the owner of the building, pretty sure he sold it. So, yeah, there's a dude that came in there a month and a half ago, maybe even 2 months ago, but he had a tape measure. He's in there in a suit, measuring everything else, and he won't let me sign a lease. I'm pretty sure he's gonna sell it. You know what I mean? And that's cool. It's his business. If I had that, he sold the other one for, I think he got a good chunk of change out of those 7 units that he sold across the way. So
real estate's a thing, right?
I mean, that's just what it is. You know what I mean? Most people I don't know a lot about real estate, but what I do know is if I was going to buy a building, I'd want to charge what I want to charge for that spot, not what's already in there.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. And a lot of people do that. They, depending on where the rents are, if they can hire for space with it, they are going to do what they need to do. I mean, that's just how it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And that's why he won't let me sign a lease, because he knows that also. Because the neighbor, he won't let them sign a lease either. And before, he made us sign a 3-year lease. So, no, they own that. No, I'm talking about the other side. It's like a beauty supply / scrub, whatever that is.
Cool.
But they do that looks like they got college kids and high school kids in there working in there.
Okay. Cool.
I don't know. But anyway, with that, yeah, I got to find a spot pretty quick here. I'm thinking, you know what I mean?
Where would you go?
I'll still be in town. I might try to get a spot like closer to my house. Yeah, I might be in Smithfield because it's kind of closer to my house. There's somebody else that's just opened one out there.
Paving the way.
So it'd be kind of cool. Yeah, it'd be closer to my house. My people are all just like I said, not really good with computers, and I'm not good with that type of stuff. So I'm going to try, though. This year, I'm going to give it a go.
Dude, the information. You got kids. I promise you, your kids they just know how to do this.
They know a lot.
This part.
They do know how to do it. They're going to have a great time. We're going to record some stuff, too, with my kids. It's going to be cool. Little kid stuff. I don't know. Well, nice, dude. I'm happy to be on here.
Yeah, why don't you tell us about yourself, man?
Badass.
I kind of did a little bit of an introduction there. All I did was told them who you were.
All right. Well, I'm John. I'm a tattoo artist. I've been tattooing for 19 years. My ex-drug addict.
Dang, tell us about that. That sounds.
I did heroin for 16 years.
You're lucky to be alive, dude.
I did. I'm a 4%er. I think it even dropped lower than that now. So they say that only 4% of people that touch fentanyl or some type of opiate like that, only 4% never do it again. And as of right now, I'm a 4%er.
Keep going.
Congratulations.
Keep going. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's been a long time, dude. It really has. And then I went down a spiritual path.
Awesome. What started you? What was that?
So what's crazy is I was sitting in a holding cell in Weaver County Jail in 2009, and there a few times. Okay, and I know everybody. Everybody knows me there. They probably still know me. You know what I mean? That's the kind of relationship I had with that jail. And I was sitting there, and it was just like a warm fart smell, a chemical smell, and I was like, dude, is this what I'm going to do forever? You know what I'm saying? Is this what I'm going to do?
Am I really
forever?
here right now?
You know? And I kind of had like a flash of my life before me. Now, right then, I was like, I'm never touching heroin. Because it's like been my thing since I was a kid, you know? So, and then it led me to Alcoholics Anonymous. Okay?
Oh, yeah, you can talk
about that on here, but I'm going to.
Yeah, man.
And Alcoholics Anonymous saved my life. I went through the steps,
Nice.
12 steps to Alcoholics Anonymous. And it kind of changed me in a way, you know what I mean? And then
those steps
over
are
time,
powerful. Like they're strong.
They guided me to where I'm at now. They definitely did. They make you look at yourself.
And you have to forgive parts of yourself that it's way harder. That's my experience on it when I had it.
Yeah. So the only true forgiveness ever in life is when you forgive yourself. Remember that. So no other being in life can give you forgiveness. None. You created it. You have to. And the only way to do it, this is just what's been told to me, is mirror work. You have to go in there and you have to forgive yourself in the mirror and be sincere. You have to tell yourself. In ancient times, they said they did it in rivers and ponds and lakes. They did their mirror work. So.
Really?
You see what I'm saying?
Huge. Forgiveness is huge.
It
is within us all.
Absolutely. So forgiveness.
Well, that's the thing. Like you forget about the people that you don't like because you're not around them. But like, dang, it is hard to not like yourself.
You are your worst enemy. Always. Always. But you're also your best friend. Yeah. Remember that. There's two sides to that coin. It's like the law of polarity. We all know about that, right? So heat and cold are of the same nature to two different degrees. You cannot tell where heat starts and cold ends.
That's true. And one without the other, you would never know.
Okay, so love and hate is of the same emotion. The only thing, how you find yourself in the middle is you like someone.
Say that again.
That's the myth. So love and hate are of the same emotion to two different degrees. And in the middle is you like someone.
I think it was Bob Marley that said, it's you can never you never really love someone until they've heard, or I'm pulling it up. I'm not going to lie to you guys.
He's going to take a minute, take a reference on that. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. He's going to take a shot at. Anyway, the law of polarity, it's a universal law. And it's with everything, especially emotions. So, yes.
We're on for the ride, and you don't even realize it sometimes.
Yeah. Consciousness, there's a war on consciousness in America.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong.
There's a war
on
it, man.
Wrong.
There really is. So, look at it this way. So, they only allow drugs that fit their consciousness.
Okay.
Their consciousness, you can't. So material scientists come up with laws against immaterial consciousness.
That's true.
Yeah, you might need to elaborate some more on that, buddy.
All right. So material scientists say you're a makeup of skin, bone that creates energy through the food you eat that powers your mind. That is basic media science. Okay. I believe that you're three parts. I believe that you're mental, physical, and astral. I believe the part that you don't understand and you can't say anything about is your astral being. Okay. I believe that you're a spirit trapped in a mountain.
Interesting. With that, like most people usually have it on the opposite one, at least that I've met and talked with it.
Yeah.
Like they're on the opposite side, but they feel like it's my train of thought. Sorry, I got so
just physical and spiritual.
Yeah, it's they have it so that they have their physicals like
everything. But that's not true, right? So how do you form A perception.
Oh.
How do you form perception? That's
I knew Joe was gonna-
internal, right? Internal, correct?
I know, right?
Perception is formed inside.
It's the ego,
Correct.
right? Like
It is.
Freud talked about.
So how do you know yourself inside if you don't close your eyes and look?
That's the truth. And it's like when you look and acknowledge the lowest part of yourself, or like the deepest part of yourself that you don't ever look at, but it's
When you start meditating, all that'll come up because that's the
Really?
real you. So the real you is going to come up in there.
that's
Every human being has a capability of meditation. Everybody. That's what we're here for. We're manifestors. Think about everything that's ever happened in your life that's really good. You chased after it. You manifested it into your life. You worked for it and you went for it and you didn't listen to anyone and you just did it and did it and did it. Right. You did it and did it. And then all of a sudden you just manifested and it was right in your face.
Dude, you know, it's a great example of that is, dude, my favorite, the GOAT, right? Michael Jordan, right? That dude got cut
Absolutely.
from his, junior year high school or sophomore year high school basketball team. And the coach was like, man, go get a math degree or something, dude. I don't, do you guys know that's a legit thing? Like, he got cut from high school basketball team. Michael Jordan, the basketball player. Chicago Bulls, you know?
I did hear that, but that blew my mind when I heard that.
Yeah. It's one of those things that's just like crazy. I grew up watching that dude, and it was like to think that, I mean, dude, to watch that dude sail through the air, like that dude earned every bit of what the legendary status that he holds. Like, that was honest. he went out and got it, and he was a good dude doing it. You know, love that guy.
Absolutely. I remember him killing the Jazz.
And that was back in the Jazz's gold days, man.
I was very
Malone
happy about that
and
because I'm a
Stockton
fan of the
and-
Chicago Bulls. I like Scottie Pippen. I like that whole team. That was a great team, dude. But Karl Malone and John Stockton, that was a great team.
Zach, those dudes, yeah, I love watching.
Dude,
those
I
guys.
thought the Bulls were going to get beat, and then Jordan came out in fourth quarter, and then they weren't getting beat.
Nope,
He wasn't going to let it happen. No, but he wanted that second ring. He was not going to let it happen.
Yeah, they made him quit. You know, they made him quit. They forced those dudes
So
out.
that is true manifest. So that is subconscious manifestation, bringing it from the void or the immaterial, or you can look at it as the fabric of time. I like to look at it that. I believe that the fabric of time is stuck in fixation.
Or
You
being
can
afraid
never-
to go
you can
one way because you
never-
think you'll go the other.
You can never grab it. Oh, there it is. Oh, there it is.
It's so true.
Everything changes in time, but time never changes.
That's the one constant, huh?
It is. And I believe that we pass through time. And I believe that the astral plane moves around us. Your
I
consciousness
think
never
the other
moves.
thing we passed through is pain.
Well, there's different forms of pain. I think there's internal pain, there's emotional pain, there's physical pain. You know what I mean? A lot. I think internal pain we
That
create
internal,
ourselves.
right. Not accepting
Absolutely.
yourself how you are,
Absolutely, I
trying
think-
to change it in a wrong kind of way.
Always evolve, man. I think that the only reason that we're here is to evolve our souls.
We're here in order to grow and experience and live and breathe and have the trees and enjoy life. But
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah.
Cut it in
We
half.
cut it in half. We cut down. So we're cutting the lungs out of the rainforest right
putting them
now.
down and then we're putting ourselves in little box.
Right.
Like,
How many people don't go outside? You know what's funny? So actually, so what you said, when we were just doing our house, right? This is kind of fresh in my mind. We did the landscaping.
Yeah.
We built this amazing fire. You guys have all seen the fire pit. You're here. It's 20 feet away from her. So when we were building
By the
it,
way, we have a big fireplace in the very center that goes all the way up at the back of the room that he's
no. I'm talking the fire pit in the backyard outside.
Oh.
I have a fire pit out in my backyard, you guys. So what I did is at first it started with I was digging a hole to bury the trampoline. And so I got this corrugated metal trampoline ring. It's really cool, high-tech setup, really structurally sound. Put it all together. And then we were like, I'm going to do an in-the-ground fire pit. So that you go down, so basically I dug a huge hole. It's probably 22 feet across, 2 feet in diameter. You go down 3 stairs into it, and it's got a brick retaining wall in a perfect circle around it with the keyhole bottom. Walk in, right? And then the fire pit is in the center. So then if you're sitting there in a chair and there maybe is a little bit of wind, you're kind of out of it. It's kind of just a neat little vibe to sit back there. And so, but when I was building that, the landscapers that helped me, the landscape company, he was like, now, are you guys actually going to use this? And I was like, well, what do you mean? He's like, because we build these all the time. And he goes, and we'll go back a couple years later to fix stuff. And you can tell that there's had like maybe one fire in it. And I was just like, really? And he goes, oh, yeah. And so is it one of those things, as you guys all know, I'm a home inspector, right? So I go to these people's homes all the time. I'm in homes all the time. And I'm one of the things I do, I love being on the roof and looking around and just seeing what's around. You'd be amazed at how many of those, he's right, those fire pits that people put in, they're just like new. They're just sitting there. They don't go out and use them. They're not out doing stuff. And so it's kind of,
that's crazy.
Well, yeah, and when you think about like, dude, we have the freedom to do that here. Like people are always like, well, what does it mean to be free? It means that if you want to go out and have a fire in your backyard and make some s'mores with your family and make them get off their screens and just sit around and talk, around a fire like you're supposed to be doing, dude, that is, you could do that here. They can't do it in China. Like, dude, that's what it means to be free.
I don't think I'd want to be outside in China, dude. Have you seen the air quality there?
That's a good point.
Holy cow, man.
Well,
I would have to be in a hazmat suit to go out there, dude. It looks like a wind tunnel of haze.
Wearing masks before it was trendy. It's never been cool at all. Trendy is the word, not cool. Yeah. So anyway, people not going outside. People are afraid. They're all living a canned life. They're consuming media. They're eating out of a box. They're sad. They're not. Well, so that's the so you guys. I had the reason. If you made the reason that I wanted John to come on here is because John is so big into the meditation, and that's something I feel like I need some help. So like I kind of got the diet nutrition thing pretty understood, and while it's hard to adhere to that diet, right? Like I know that I feel better when I do it, and most of the time I do. And so eat pretty well, exercise pretty frequently. That's kind of the biggest thing. Like when you look at some guys, like, man, I don't know if anybody in here, you guys aren't old enough to know George Burns. Remember him? He was an actor, smoked and drank and like just lived, but he lived a long time. And dude, all these dudes, if you exercise, like you can pretty much get away with doing whatever you want. I mean, maybe not heroin. You know what I'm saying? Like there's some stuff you can't, but like if you're like, dude, I'm gonna smoke me some cigars now and then. Well, for sure. Then exercise, dude, and smoke them cigars. You know what I'm saying? Like,
do something with yourself.
If you exercise, like keep yourself going. Like I see it all the time. Yeah. So I kind of have those things down. So then there's the spiritual side of it is.
So I believe that meditation is.
It is, yeah. And so prayer and meditation are very, very similar. Like some folks need. So the prayer is a form of meditation. They're praying to a guided meditation. So
where you're taught to think,
be gratitude and receptive and open and honest and
same thing as a
free. It's so yeah. And so you're kind of doing the same thing. So anyways, I guess I wanted him to talk about the meditation because I've always done it from under the umbrella of like a Christian Bible-based church. So I want to hear the side of it from a guy who acknowledges a higher power, maybe not so much the church, right? But which is fine, and that's fine. I'm not so that's I bet.
Yeah. So, but listen, man, I'm not opposed to Christianity. I'm not. So the name Jesus used to bother me just because I know some things, and that's a whole different conversation. But meditation, I think if you base it off of yourself, not off of a religious belief, you're like, because now that I do it all the time, because I meditate probably twice a day, 2-3 times a day, I just want to do it now. I want to do it all the time. I like where I'm at with it. I like it. I like where I go. So
I've known John a long time, and I've seen a bit of a change. So you guys might be like, so this is why I want him on here, is because I've seen this change in his psyche and his mentality and the way he thinks and the way he approaches things. And so it's like, well, okay, when you start seeing a change like that in someone, it's worth noting. It's worth saying, hey, what brought this on? What you doing? And like, well, John started eating a little bit better. John started working out, and this has been years of him doing the working out and getting the eating thing right. And so then he kind of got the mind thing down on it, and I've seen him kind of reach a peaceful place, and pretty cool. Pretty cool. So I was like, well, let's look into this a little deeper.
What's your favorite part?
Of what?
All of it.
What, everything. The meditation?
Like everything.
What's my favorite part? My favorite part of meditation is usually, I don't know, I like being like mentally in the meditation, but the after effects are what I really like. Because there's the predictable future, and then there's the known past. The only way to find yourself is to go to the unknown.
Don't hide things in the fog.
So the unknown is the present.
Oh.
So to be centered means that you are presently centered in that moment. Remember that in meditation, that's what it means. When they're like center yourself, that means
Am I over here thinking
you don't let anything else mess with your thought process there. And what I would say when you first start meditating is,
well, so I was going to say, John, if I can, so the whole, right, the ADHD Express, every time I try to sit there and meditate, you're like, okay, I get the mood right, I get the lighting right, I'm peaceful and I'm calm and I'm sitting there, and then it's like,
you got hands in the right
I wonder how
position.
many pieces of firewood are in the firewood pile out back. Yeah, I'm doing it all, right?
Sit there on the ground,
I'm like,
on a pillow.
I wonder how many
Nice and
pieces
comfy.
of kibble come in a bag of dog food. Like, and then you're like, why would you even think of that, Brian? Like, what is wrong with you? And then you're like,
you just start asking yourself
like you
random questions. Man, when I first started learning, so this is why I learned why I wanted to learn how to meditate. So I was watching this show, and this dude said I could talk to aliens if I through meditation. And then he proves it. It's a documentary. So I was like, I could do that. You know what I mean? It was an ego thing at first.
Yeah.
And I went out there and I sat and I did exactly what you do. I sat in the backyard, mosquitoes flying around me. I'm just like, dude, is this going to happen? Or what am I trying to do out here? And then I started doing guided meditations and breath work.
Oh, so did you use Sam Harris?
Literally as soon as I found the right breath work for my body, I can meditate within seconds. It's only breath. I'm telling you, it's breath work. That is meditation in its purest form, is when you have brain heart coherency and your breath is perfect to your thought process. Brain heart coherency.
It's oxygen.
That is when you will forget about it. So when you're in true meditative state, your body will just breathe like that. I can't feel my body when I go into that type of meditation. The body is just like not there. It's a different place. And I really like, but that's where I found myself. That's where I found myself.
You had
Literally.
to take everything that had piled up and went
Absolutely.
through.
And now I just try to start everything with the heart and end it with the heart.
So you're always walking around with a full tank.
Trying to. Absolutely. It's like, this is what my spiritual belief in a higher power. So I believe that the creator has created the universe, and then the universe created us for cause and effect.
How about this one? Can I throw one at you?
Absolutely.
What do you think about the thought of story of Christ? We mentioned it earlier, right? And like, this isn't.
Ooh.
The Bible's a freaking cool book. That's what I gotta say.
So the thing about the Bible is, this is just, you can research this. I would recommend it. So it's a monotheism book. It's a one world God. You just heard what I said. I believe that the creator created the universe. So I'm a universal creator.
I
See what I'm saying?
do exactly.
So what's got me messed up is, so the letter J. Let's just talk about the letter J, because you say Jesus a lot, right? A lot of people say Jesus Christ, amen. And I'm going to tell you where that came from. So the word Jesus, the letter J, that sound wasn't even a sound in mankind's history until 1540 AD. The Bible was written from 100 AD to 900 AD.
Yeah, that thing. I mean, the entire.
It's called the Papal Ages.
I might piss people off with that one. I'll stop on that. But it's the Nicene Creed.
Nicaeum, the Council of the Nicaeum, were actually. You know what's crazy about them is they were actually Egyptian pyramid priests. The council. That's who wrote the Bible.
It was compiled. They had it afterwards.
They compiled it from stories from other people, and then they're the ones who put it together.
So that's why the Bible's so cool, because it's a story of stories. Like, Sorry, go ahead.
So Constantine, when he got a hold of the Bible, he removed 22 books.
Never heard that before.
Yeah. Oh, there's 40 removed. The Book of
Yeah, well,
Thomas.
it could be.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
just talking about what Constantine took out. I'm not talking about King James. We're talking about
Oh.
Constantine.
King James
Right.
is much
That's-
later, and he takes out the Book of Enoch. He takes out a bunch of books that were to give mankind the spiritual essence that we needed in our lives. Instead, they turned it around and used the Bible to control. They killed 80 million indigenous tribe members, putting that book around the world.
More than that, it's probably had the most murders, I think. Like, in the name of Christ. Well,
Yeah,
there,
so
but
it
that's-
doesn't make any
that
sense.
was
to
just
me.
because of the wars that they were having there, and they were doing it in his name. But the story of Christ, on its basic thing, is the story of a man.
It is, and
What you're
It
supposed
is,
to
and his
do.
name is Yeshua.
That's his name is Yeshua.
That's his name is Yeshua.
Yeshua.
Moravingen.
That's absolutely his name. And actually, in
And
the
where do you
part in
get
the
that? 'Cause
Bible
I've
when
never
he
heard that either.
disappears.
Right? So like that's.
Oh, you can look it up.
Oh, you can look it up. Look at the. So there's a book. There's a book called the Book of. They took it out of the Bible. It's called the Book of Mary,
Mary, okay.
and it is at the front of the women's seminary building at
Yeah.
Harvard.
No, the
And it speaks of Mary Magdalene and Yeshua.
Okay, so then you chase.
Yeshua's name back to Egypt.
And from 12.
And from 12 to 32, he was at the house of the Holy 12, Egypt. They have a shrine in Egypt for him.
That's historical.
That's historical. It's a fact.
So you're saying Jesus was in
Makes you kinda-
Egypt.
From 12 to
From 12, so he was gone for 20 years. So I know he was in Egypt for quite a long time, and then he went all over the place. So he was in China. He was learning different ways to help people all over the world.
And that's what he did.
That's what he did. That's why he disappeared for 20 years. He was an adept initiate
into mystical science.
into mystical sciences. That's at least what I believe. A lot of people are like, he's the son of God, and he was. He's the son of the gods, man. He was. No.
Well,
Absolutely.
you know what keeps me? So every time I've asked like Christian people about this, like they're all, oh no, Bibles, and I'm like, come on, it's been changed. We know it's been changed. Like there's got to be some
They have
variance.
bears eating kids.
I definitely think.
It's been changed. I definitely think that.
Well, yeah.
So there's
a set of tablets, and it's called the Epic of Gilgamesh.
Epic of Gilgamesh. And you're familiar with this too? Okay. Daniel, you're being awfully quiet over there. Are you even filming?
from Samaria.
He's still
Okay.
updating.
For sure.
Do you want to come sit next to me and share my space?
Share the mic.
Anyway, so I'm sorry. The tablets of Gilgamesh. Who is Gilgamesh?
Yes.
So Gilgamesh is
an
Anunnaki. So I've heard of the Anunnaki. I've heard people talk about the Anunnaki. Other than you, I've heard other people talk about the Anunnaki.
Oh man, I don't know how you couldn't.
It's historic. So these are just as there's right. Daniel, you know about this stuff
Here's
too.
the thing about Christianity.
Okay.
The Hermetics and the mysticism. And
He knows exactly. He knows what he's talking about. The 7 principles. I just talked about one of the law of polarity. That is a hermetic principle.
Okay.
All right. I'm gonna have to watch this podcast later and look some of this stuff up. I'm for real too. I'm a little lost.
Who? I don't know.
Jeff C just posted something from media this morning. He's an author.
Yeah, so he wrote a thing. I think you'd find, because I think it goes right along with your train of thinking.
Yeah,
So
okay.
far, but it's like, and tell me if I'm wrong or get anything going. But so this guy, he went through and he would have seizures, right? And he was a very, very well-known psychiatrist. He worked a lot with Freud for a lot of years, and they actually came out with several of their theories together. And then Jung kind of left Freud when he had started talking about the Oedipus complex and creating, and like women loving or sons loving their mothers, and so he kind of stepped away from him. But the way
The
that he
Kabbalah.
would write
Okay.
is way different than anyone else I've ever read.
That's right.
And it is a tough book, but he would have these seizures, and he would sit, and while he was in the seizure, he was sitting across from the archetypes or the super egos that we have, and like the hero from the hero's journey, and the fool who he learned in his that you can't become a hero without first being a fool and fumbling a little bit.
Oh yeah,
We've talked about this before too.
Got you.
Podcast. Sorry about that, Joe. Good.
Yeah, it's very interesting because he goes through each of them, but it's kind of like what you're talking about.
Got
where
you.
it's-
I read a lot like a lot of esoteric
Okay.
work. I like to read like tablets that have been translated because I can't cuneiform. I would love to learn how to cuneiform, but I just
Whoa, what do you think about?
a lot of work. I want to do it, but it's a lot of work.
What do you
so.
think about the Mesopotamian story? The
Sumerians? Yeah,
Is
it's
it?
Mesopotamia.
The books. Do you guys know that the
Sumerian, yeah, it's
Kabbalah,
all
which is kind
Mesopotamian.
of the modern Kybalion,
Kybalion,
yeah, the
I just
20th
was reading it,
century
listening to it before I
codified
got here.
version of the Hermetic. Yeah, so they're
1925.
talking about it that the book says
1908.
that it makes its appearance in your life when the time is appropriate. How weird is
It does.
that? So if you're watching my podcast and you just read about this, well, I guess we're just going to boost sales on this thing because I'm going to go and buy it because I'm like, well, I guess I better read it.
The Kybalion. So if you're going to read that, you have to read the Emerald Tablets.
Well, I've been reading
you
some
have
of them.
to. That is the Kybalion. The Kybalion, dude, that is from the same person. Hermes thrice born, thrice majestus. So they Greeks call
So
them
hang on. So where did the Hermetic
That.
rules come? Like what? How old is
Principles?
this?
They're universal principles. They're way before Christianity.
Like what? Where do they come from? Do we know? Is
They're
there
on
like?
hieroglyphs.
So
They're
can
on
anybody go and do the
hieroglyphs, dude.
research and be like, oh, this legitimately came from here.
Oh,
This is
absolutely.
irrefutable fact, right?
Absolutely.
Because see, if you
Yeah, they did. They had them. They have you. So there's a book. It's called
if you sit there and
Dr.
search for a couple
Brielle,
minutes, they
The
say they don't have
Secrets
those. The
of
emerald tablets don't
Atlantis.
exist.
Read the book. It's called The Secrets of Atlantis from Dr. Doriel. He is the one that transcribed the Emerald Tablets, all 10 of them. He found them in the base of the Teotihuacan temple
So what happened to
in
them?
Mexico. That's where he
What happened
found
to
the
'em?
Emerald Tablets. The Vatican took them.
Huh?
And that's being backed up by a lot of science people are saying that
the
the Vatican took
did
them
go
for
through
sure.
and take a lot, and they've always been known
Have
for.
you ever
they-
looked
yeah.
at the Vatican City? Have you
Well,
ever
no,
looked
I
at
know they're
Vatican
rich.
City?
Like, they're-
You ever looked at Vatican City? Dude, it's
Oh,
Egypt. Look at Vatican
They have
City. It's
walls
Egypt.
and there's photos of the inside, and they have walls in these caves that go forever, and they're just filing cabinets with books that they won't.
There's like a 5-mile underground archive,
It's
dude,
insane.
that has relics from all over the world that we'll never see. That it's for mankind. They just stole them. They think because they're a huge, and they are. They're big, dude. The Vatican's big, boy.
Yeah, actually, with that, there's a guy.
They
Okay, so another guy wrote a book. There was a psychology book, and the psychology book, he talked about these two brothers, and he would write because he would have two characters fight each other because he felt like that made it so that the end of the story had been completed when one of them won. And so he would do this for fun, and he got really dang good at it, like really good. And he created this story that was known as I can't remember it. I'll put it right here in the thing, or if I remember it. But so what happens is Christ comes back, right? And in the story, when he comes back, like everyone's super happy except for the church, like the Catholic Church.
Yeah.
And they send who's the Grand Inquisitor. The Grand Inquisitor is the name of the short story within a different book. But what ended up happening is they take him in to go to prison, and they lock him in prison, and they tell Christ, you messed up. Like, we had to stay here. We had to fix everything. And what in the world is going on with those 3 miracles? You remember the story where it has where Satan tempts him to jump off the cliff, right? And he says, like, I'll give you everything and I'll let you reign in my kingdom.
And he says, yeah,
And-
there's nothing you. Yeah.
Yeah. And then there was another one that was
probably not recorded.
there was another one, and it was the same it was the same chapter or the next one after. And he's walking, and he's in the middle of his 40-day fast, right? He's hungry, and he says, "Why don't you just go ahead and turn that bread? Why don't you turn those rocks to bread?" And Christ responded again, right? And then the third one that he did was, there was food, there was hunger, and then there was food, wealth, and happiness. What was the third one? Do you remember? But anyway, the Grand Inquisitor goes off on him about it. He says, "Why in the world did you just not show us how to turn rocks to bread? So instead, we had to work and help and feed and make the bread and toil. And we didn't deserve that."
Exactly.
And then he says, sorry, I'm going to do a lot of editing on this one because I love talking about this stuff. I go way too far ahead in my brain. Oh. So he says, "Why in the world would you not take all the money in the world? All of that money could have fed families and helped others that were in need, which you always taught." And they go over the third one. I can't believe I forgot that one. But at the very end of it, he's saying that he looks forward to the day tomorrow when they were about to hang him for coming home, and keeps just ripping into Christ. And then he finally calms down and he puts his arms down by his side and he says, "What do you have to say?" And all he had to say was he kissed him on the cheek. And then the Grand Inquisitor walked away and left the door open.
That was a book?
It's a short story within a book where a brother asked his other brother how he could believe in God. And
So it's kind of Bible-based.
actually, it's a crazy book.
Christian
It's
belief.
two
Christian
brothers
belief.
that are, one that's super humble and one that has everything in the world fed to him on a stick. And one that believes in God and is a hardworking person, and the other one who lies, cheats, and steals, does everything, but everything works out for him, and the little brother always loses. And the older brother asked him, like, how in the world can you believe in God when all this crap is happening around in our lives, all these terrible things happening to all of these people? How could he sit there and watch it happen? And how could he do that? And then he told that story in response. That's how it comes up in the book.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like the word of Christ though. That's real. Like the parables in the Bible, very
Very
real, dude. So if you match them with the emerald tablets, you'll be very, 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 very surprised. They're almost word for word. And so the letter J wasn't even created till 1542. Bible was written from 180 to 980, the Papal Ages. Okay. There's the 7 tablets of creation.
Right, the 7 golden tablets. Yeah, they've got
From
those on
Samaria.
display.
From Samaria. Yeah, you can read them. They're cuneiformed, all of them. So there's parts missing and stuff. But anyway, there's a part in there where there's a guy in there. His name is Marduk. We know who Marduk is, right? So Marduk is actually Amun-Ra. So in this parable in there of Amun-Ra, it's going to sound a lot like the Bible right now. He says, "You will bow to no other God before me." Who else says that?
Yeah. I shall not bow to any other God before me. That's
Marduk in
that's the
Isaiah.
Bible.
Old Testament Bible.
Ooh, you're right. He's in the Bible too. But listen, so Marduk is Amun-Ra. That's why you say in Jesus Christ's name, Amen. So you're paying homage to Amun-Ra, one of the most brutal dictators in mankind's history in Egypt. by giving him praise before you bless food. So why is that? Where did the word amen come from?
There was
So I want you to do something. Do this research. So the letter J comes up in Greece in 1500, where the sound comes from.
Yeah.
So I want you to look up what Jesus means in Greece in that time period.
It was during the Roman. It was during the Roman time, wasn't it?
It is. You're right. Constantine.
Yeah, he united the Roman Empire, right?
He changed the Roman Empire into the Vatican.
He let them go over off into their corner.
The Roman Catholic Church became the Vatican.
Yeah, for the Roman Catholics, right?
So, but that is Rome. Rome never died. It turned into a religion.
That's I will say, I think that's exactly what they did on that.
You can read it kind of through history. You can kind of read it through history, kind of see where it goes.
But people tend to do that because, yeah.
Well, I don't know, because
right?
when you start, it depends. I mean, they talk about the meaning from its Semitic root, firm, fixed, or sure. Also means to be reliable or to be trusted. There's a kind of a bunch of them. There's, according to Merriam-Webster, the interjection "amen" is used to express solemn ratification, as of an expression of faith, or a hearty approval, as of an assertion, often interchanged with phrases such as "so be it." And then here's another one. It says from Wikipedia, the word was borrowed from Hebrew into Arabic in only this context. Thus, it is strictly used in Arabic as a final amen to conclude supplications or to declare affirmation. It has no initial amen usage with the meaning of truly or certainly as found in the world's original language grammar. I don't know. There's kind of a bunch of, like, honestly, like the more you read, and then there's all this stuff about that other thing as well, the Amen Ra part, but like, I don't know.
Oh, it's real.
I mean,
because if you think about it, Amen Ra, that was way before all that other stuff. He was here way before that.
yeah, and the Jews were enslaved by the Roman Empire at that time. At least,
Man, the Roman Empire, dude. Constantine changed everything. He took away our extra month in the year. You know, there's 13 months in a year.
yeah, and it was for the rule that made it so that we had to make a day for you could be August.
So they add 2 here, put some there, do this there, do that. Every year they do that. They add 2 days here, but every day is 28 days, and I'll prove it to you because every woman's cycle is 28 days, and they go off the base of the earth, the rotation of the earth. You could ask your wife or whoever if you're with us, their cycle to count them from April 1st to April 1st. There's going to be 13 of them.
Huh.
Promise.
Yeah,
Because there is 13 months of the year. So the ancient Sumerians have it all mapped out, had it way more, and the Mayans mapped the whole thing.
Well, yeah, but they had the same pyramid. They probably that information was probably already there. They probably just found it all. We're like, hey, this works.
Bro, do you know that the speed of light is the exact weight of the pyramid?
I don't even understand that.
that one's
299.
well, in theory, because of
that is what it weighs, and that's what the speed of light
that is that because of how massive that thing is.
It is, dude. I'm telling you.
Sun, right?
And so the pyramid maps out almost everything in the stars. It maps out the procession of the equinox. It maps out everything. Do you know during the procession of the equinox, dude, that every major pyramid in the world points to Orion's belt? All of them.
Thinking about that, they are all at the pretty much prime meridian that I've thought of. I don't think I've ever seen one in Africa.
There's little ones that man-made built, but the people that built those were right on the money, and they used that for they did it for a reason. It's the law of polarity. That's why everything's north and south.
I've been thinking a lot about I learned recently that if you take and you put a bowl. Sorry, my phone is turned off, but my laptop's notification for my phone was not.
Remembered.
Lost it.
So the pyramids. So they only found 3 items in all the pyramids. You know that, right? When they first opened it up.
You mean only 3? Do you mean they were completely empty?
Completely empty. They found no
Nothing.
tombs. They found nothing. They found 3 measuring tools and 3 pieces of wood and a ball for like a measuring ball, like you hook it on. It's like a leveling ball. They found one of those. They found some tube thing that it hooks to. They found another hand tool, and then they found 3 pieces of wood. And that was it. That's all they've ever found in
Huh,
any
I didn't
pyramid.
know that, I guess.
Besides
My
ancient
little
relics
brother,
that the Vatican.
Well, they did find ancient relics. Oh.
They probably
Well,
did. The Vatican were the first people in them,
the-
for sure. The
my
Templars.
brother, he went to.
They just found one, dude. They just found the labyrinth,
Huh.
is what they said. They just
But
found the
what's
labyrinth
crazy is
underneath the pyramid.
our little brother, he had a teacher who was a guy, and he had actually gone there to Egypt, and he was telling him, and everyone has a theory on how pyramids are made, right? And it's still dang hard to find out. Just the calculations alone, right?
Yeah. Just to be that perfect to where the front point of it, the entrance points directly, perfectly due
Hear me out.
north.
He gave us an idea, or he was telling us, and he suggested this. He was in there, and they were doing measurements in the tunnels. And the tunnels themselves, when they were going along, none of them were more than just a little bit wider than the biggest blocks that were there.
Really? They just made them fit perfectly and slid them in or something, or what?
But in order for them to do it, they had to dig all of the stuff
Come
down and out for that entire section. So
they think that it was built from the top down.
and
There's a bunch of people
there's
think
that
that, dude.
one. But what he suggested was he thought he was, as he was walking around in there, it was like it was a massive dip and trough. It was at the base, and at that time, the Nile actually ran right by that area.
It ran
And
underneath
so
it.
he thought,
Right, I know there's
thinking
something about
it, and there's a place
aquifers
that-
underneath there that are all dried and
There is.
They think they
There's
used
the water of the Nile
river
used to
to
go underneath it
move-
for sure. They already proved that it recessed.
push them through that crack.
They proved that the water went around the Sphinx too, because they found like traces of it around like there up on.
Oh yeah,
Around the wall on the other side where the Sphinx is actually inside of is all like deteriorated from water. You can see it. There's water there for sure. So the stone that they used at the base of the pyramid is electrostatic granite. So it picks up electrostatic
oh, now we're
electricity as water passed underneath it. So I mean, really, what was the pyramids used for? I have a theory, just like a lot of people, that it was just a big energy source, and then they have those jeds or whatever, and the Ankh, and they would just. It's like Nikola Tesla power. The same idea, and then he what he did is I think he acclimated it to the earth, and he used some type of.
that's right. He had a tower that was just generating
magnetic
power from
bars.
nothing.
Yeah. Yep. Pulled it out of the void.
Right. And out of nothing,
Crazy,
just out of air, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
We think we have a theory, because we just watched a video where they took those big old thunder things, like the stuff that are on top of the buildings in Salt Lake and all of there, the big balls with the rod that is going up through them. We were watching a video, and like the guys had taken one down, and it was about to be thrown away because it had been damaged, and they cut it open in order to see what was actually inside of it, and it was filled with what's the liquid metal?
Oh, magnesium, not magnesium, mercury.
Mercury. It was filled with mercury, which is a random thing to put in a ball. We were doing research, and we found out that when you put a magnet at the bottom of mercury
It'll take gravity
and
away.
hook a power supply to it, and then put the other end in it, it creates a vortex that spins around and doesn't stop. It's metal, and so it's conducting heat, conducting electrons throughout everything. It doesn't like to move, but it's moving.
Huh.
I think the ancient Egyptians had a way to reverse gravity. I believe that they used a certain type of metal. I think that's how they moved the blocks, dude. I think they used they found the frequency of the stone. Because if you look, every stone, everything in the world has a frequency.
That is
everything.
true. Gold's frequency
That is the law of vibration. Remember, that's a 7 Hermetic principle. That's
Law
the
of
law
vibration.
of vibration.
Okay.
crazy because
It is.
even with lights
Yep.
that we're using right here, right now, it has a frequency meter on
It
the
does. Everything has a
ability
frequency.
to change it from a darker light to a lighter light. But everything comes from it.
I believe you're the receiver for the creator's frequency. The only way to do that's meditation, by the way. It's how you tune in. You have to forget who you are. You have to go to a place, the unknown.
You have to take and deal with the little.
And once you touch the divine, dude, you will do it all the time. You will not ever not want to do it. I don't know why more Americans aren't just meditating all the time. Why not? What, because back in the 60s, oh, that's hippie stuff, or people are like scared to find themselves. I think a lot of dudes get stuck in
For
masculinity.
sure. Oh, for sure.
You know, they're like, oh, I would rather be sensitive this way. I'd rather just beat people up and fight or do this or blah, blah, blah. They're not willing to work on what they really have problems with.
Well, you ever find those
No, we've
dudes
been-
who are always like
we've
to
been-
talk about that, and they're like, "Oh, I want to go out and get in a fight." No, you don't. You want to go find someone smaller than you to beat up.
No, you don't.
You don't want to go. You don't go out and find
Yeah,
somebody
that's
who's actually
it,
going to
dude,
have a
yeah.
chance against you. You go out and find a victim.
Yeah.
So it's like it's kind of that mentality.
It's true, man. A lot of people are like that, man. I believe that.
Because they feel weak in that moment, and so they want someone else to feel their
Yeah,
way.
right. They're going to force them. I'll make you feel weaker because I'm bigger and stronger. Up and then. Oh yeah, it's really.
Read. It just is what I'll defend myself, but
I can throw a fist.
you know what I mean? I'll defend myself, but I mean, I don't like that at all. But yeah, I think people should really get in tune with themselves,
Sure.
build that perception of oneself. How are you going to do that out here if you're consistently on Groundhog
Ego
Day?
death.
Yeah.
If you're on Groundhog Day every
Every
day, you
day.
wake up and you do the same thing, you're not changing. You're not changing what you have to change. So I would recommend, if you can find an hour out of your very precious time that you have on this planet every day to find that hour to find yourself.
Find yourself through some exercise, some meditation.
Absolutely, dude. Absolutely. I don't care how tough you are. I don't care about any of that, man. Find yourself. This world we have to change the world, dude. If we don't change the world, we are going to be hit, dude.
Change the world by doing what we can in the first place.
I've read a lot of ancient tablets, and all of them say almost the same thing, that it's mankind plays a part in it, dude.
Right. Sure.
We play a part in the end of the world on every mass extinction. It's been mankind that's been evil as
Every
crap.
story recognizes
Leading. Yeah. And right now we have people going after money, material things in this life, and it's destroying spirituality. We've severed spirituality.
I will. My
Human being-
favorite
as
thing
a
is to
human being.
leave out in the woods.
Yeah.
And just go and enjoy it.
Nature's good. I believe that us as a human race, we've severed that through our actions,
Yeah,
based off of insecurities most of the time.
that's so true.
Actions based off insecurities, dude.
Yeah, that's very honestly valid. Probably quite accurate, actually. Dang.
It is. I think so too. I really do. And the choices that we make today, don't let them be the choices you make tomorrow. And those are baby steps. I don't think any of us have enough change in us to be like, all right, well, I'm gonna
Right.
be a
No,
totally different
It
person
is.
tomorrow.
You're right, dude. It's 100% the
That's
baby
just not
steps
how it
thing.
works.
I'm sorry, it does. I wish
Absolutely.
it wasn't. And there's some people. I mean, I know like there's dudes out there, man. David Goggins, some of these just absolute pinnacles of humanity. People who have aspired and worked
Absolutely.
themselves to, like, yes, that dude could probably go and change something quick. There's a bunch of people like that, and so for those people, like,
Absolutely.
find them, study them, watch what they're doing, and remember and mimic, man. Like the wheel's already round. Let's just find one that's rolling along and copy that sucker. If you're not happy with
Dude, did you know the Mayans wouldn't use a wheel?
ADHD, no, tell me about the Mayans who wouldn't use a wheel. We have like 5 minutes left.
Dude,
We
we're
have like
talking
5 minutes. Go.
spirituality. Because they said that the creator works in wills, so they totally would not use a will in their society. That's the time. Time is in a circle. They believe that time was in a circle, and
Right, cyclical.
so they could not deface it on anything underneath anything.
Really?
So The circle just, I
Good
swear
God,
to
how'd
you,
they move
look it
that
up.
thing?
If you look at their circle, it's their calendar.
Right, I knew that. Yeah.
That's the only
well,
thing
and it
that
has,
you'll find
doesn't have a
circle.
little.
Yeah, but everything else is a different shape. No circles, bro. I'm not even kidding, dude. Unless it's depicting something for their faith. They couldn't just be like, all right, well, here's a car. There you go. I bet they had different types of vehicles for sure. They were way, way more advanced, I think, than we are.
Mayans?
I mean, spiritually advanced, bro.
Maybe.
Just not, maybe technology. Who knows? I wasn't there. We think of technology as we build something and it does something. I know they thought, well, our technology comes from our mind, so we create it from the void.
We have to experience it. That's why we enjoy stories, because we experience a story the same way we experience our lives.
So you know why people aren't doing that stuff now and why Nikola Tesla is not happening again? Because they've got us all dumbed down. We're following a system that is not it.
Dude.
That too. Well, yeah, they've just done everything. They'll stop you from it.
They'll stop you from it. They'll stop
Right.
you.
It's so and not only that, but like they're stopping you from it through your childhood. They're splitting up your mom and dad so that there's no parents raising you. We call a school system a public school. It's not a public school. It's a government school. It's a government school teaching a government agenda. Like, it's scary, dude. Like,
yeah, it is.
So those kids, these kids aren't going to be doing that stuff because it's not in them. And then they go home and they sit in front of a screen and they eat everything out of a box, as a packaged box, trying to get kids to eat like organic, healthy food or whatever, like not even organic, but just like normal food.
When I literally cried when they took all of the food out. I remember they took all of the good food out. And when was that? Junior high D? Like, snacks. And then one day we went there and they're wheat thins.
My kid with my kids, man. I just we try to get them to meditate all the time. Like, I play meditation music while my daughter's sleeping, so she knows. But she knows about meditation, so let's sit down, crisscross applesauce, everything on the ground, and for real, she will. She's only 3, so just teaching her that, it'll be repetition, and then she'll be. Kids go into a meditative state a lot faster than we do. And the reason is because they don't have so much stuff to barrel through.
They let it go.
To let it
you ever
happen.
Seen a little kid
and their
talk?
pineal gland has not been
No
contaminated.
filter. They just kind of do it.
Yeah. They're on a different level mentally. So it's pretty easy to get them to connect with themselves. Because they want to connect with themselves. So you just got to show them the way.
It's to be the father that points your son to the world.
Self-love, dude. That's what I teach. With my
That's
kids.
powerful.
Self-love.
That's huge. Everybody needs to teach that.
I teach my kids. I do mantras with them every morning. I love myself. I love my family. I'm going to be successful. I teach them that every day. They say it every day. They've been saying it every day since
That's
they were
awesome.
2, all of them. Well, because I want them to be something. I want them to be who they are.
Right.
The best
Who
version
they
of
could
them.
be.
Yeah. Yeah. It's up to them, dude. And it's a manifestation of oneself. That's why the world is so evil, is because we're group manifesting it.
I think that we like to focus on the
thoughts.
negatives.
Sure, they do. Well, it
Or
sells,
I
right?
think
It's
Exactly.
Humans are every day.
Exactly.
Like, how much of the day do you sit and say,
I was just
"Beautiful
talking about-
outside"?
not a lot, not enough.
So I was just telling him about the science
As you say,
behind
frick me, I got something to do.
being so. People nowadays are addicted to being negative, and here's the reason why. So negative emotions gives you energy.
It feeds
Okay,
itself.
so then you get addicted to that energy, and if you do it more than 1 or 2 times a day, you'll be really addicted to it really fast. So you'll start thinking negative because it gives you a shout of energy, gives you that adrenaline rush. Like, oh, he made me mad, and it gives you that adrenaline rush.
Sure.
yeah.
Oh yeah,
Right.
you were talking about this
So
earlier.
you get
Yeah.
addicted to
Yeah.
you get addicted.
Right,
to
that negative feeling. Well,
It's because when we were out there
Okay.
hunting.
So next time that feeling comes on, there's nobody around.
Oh,
Because you're addicted to it. Your body is reaching for it. It's looking for that feeling.
Sure. The
It's
body
creating
keeps the
it in your
score.
mind. Because it is.
that's a book,
It starts
by
to
the way.
create it on its own now.
yeah.
So now you're just sitting there. Why do you have negative thoughts? Because you created them earlier.
It's crazy because why would you have negative thoughts in year 1 or year 5?
Just out of
year
nowhere,
5,
right? You're having a great day.
No,
You're having a great day.
you missed
Everything's
your
going
meal.
great, and all of a sudden, all you can think about is the bills you didn't pay, or all you can think about
Yeah.
is this. To
Well,
that.
for them, it was
Isn't that
they
how it
had
is?
animals that they were hunting, and if they couldn't get an animal, they were going to sleep a little depressed
And hungry.
because it made it so that their brain would make it so they wouldn't go hunting there tomorrow because that sucked. Right? And so it's able to process that and go. But then we took all of that stuff away, all of the crazy things that are put up against us, and made these devices.
We
control
evolved.
us.
We evolved. So there's nothing wrong with evolving the soul as long as it's through
That's
love.
so true.
So what we're doing right now as mankind is we're evolving
And
through
hate.
fear
and hate.
and hate, and we're letting groups and groups of people control us. For why, dude? They're just people just like you and me, bro. Well, because they have a name?
It's valid. It's
For real. Why do these people get to send my brother who's in the military off to die? For what? I don't even know why we're fighting over there right now. For what?
for no good reason.
Have they come out and said, hey, we're fighting over in Syria? No, they haven't, but they bombed them 300 times since the beginning of the month. Dude, what is that? What is that, dude? I don't understand it. I don't get it. I still don't understand mankind. Since I've been waking up, meditating all the time, dude, there's a bunch of stuff I don't understand.
Yeah, most of it.
No?
I think we spend most of
real?
our lives
Yeah.
trying to figure it out.
Yeah. Based off of, yeah. I'm just trying to figure me out now.
That's the important
know?
one to know, because
Yeah.
It is. For me, it definitely is, man, because I was lost as hell. Like I said, I shot drugs most of my life. I went to Alcoholics Anonymous thinking I was going to find myself. And I found a way to quit using drugs. Did I find myself, though? No.
oh, you're obviously talking to yourself.
That did not start until
Well,
Until
it still
I
started
looked.
because it gives you and it takes a little while sometimes. It takes a different amount of time for everybody. You know?
Would you
It did.
say
It made me
that
look at
first
some things.
time that
Sure.
you had that moment, that frick me moment, was the first meditation that you had?
So I think the first time that I actually went into like a good meditative state, it was so peaceful when I came out. Like I couldn't even have a negative thought. When you're in that space when you can't think of the past, the present, all you can think, the present, or all you can think about is the present, is with yourself right now. You know what I mean? You're not worried about, I got to go here at this time. I got to do that at this time. What's that stuff from the past that made me mad? Dude, your mind works like that. So you have to reevaluate and reorganize your mind so you don't consistently have those thoughts. And the best way to do it is start with better thoughts and then focus on those thoughts. Absolutely.
You've
And
had
once you
to
start
regret this.
focusing on those thoughts, it won't give you room for the other thoughts. Because you're made of energy and you're full of room. You're
They
full of
can
energy.
measure
And that's the
brain
energy you
frequency
carry
from the
around.
outside of your skull. Tell me that there's not.
They do.
That's true.
Oh,
huh?
absolutely. Your thoughts are frequency. They put a cap on your head and they can tell you everything you're thinking right now. Pictures of it come up on a
People
screen.
prefer it.
That's science right now, bro.
I didn't know that.
Bro, they can hook a scanner up and they can show you what you're thinking.
Imagine being that dude.
Dude, he was paralyzed. I bet he's happy as
Hey,
hell. He
the
can
Neuralink
walk.
guy.
Yeah, they think it's gonna work. He's paralyzed, so
They're trying to a Neuralink meaning bypass
He
the
couldn't do
nerve damage
anything.
that's making him cripple and make it to
it's
where he can
going
walk.
to. I bet you it's gonna reprogram his mind.
Stimuli. Yeah.
Have you seen the
Yeah.
new Apple chairs? Like the new Apple goggles they dropped?
Yeah, yeah,
Dude,
Yep.
it's like a literal computer that is always around you virtually, and it has see-through things. You can take and pinch your stuff, and throw it around, watch a video over there, and it stays there when you look over here in order to work on this thing while you're sitting there working on your car.
Wow.
See, that's technology, dude. We're so far behind on technology, dude. The government's held it back for so long. They've been shooting UFOs out of the sky since the 80s, dude. They really have, bro. They've been flying around in their own
They
self-made
came out in
UFOs
2020
for
that aliens existed.
Right. I knew they came out and
years,
they got
dude.
swept underneath everything because of the whole COVID.
Yeah. Oh, they're doing it for sure. Yeah, dude. Wouldn't you? Hey, bro. Say you come across some crashed alien ship.
Whatever that sucks, man.
You know what I mean? I'd probably try to save the alien because who knows what kind of alien it is. I don't
Might
know
as
what it
well.
is. You know what I mean? I'm gonna try to, especially if it's like a sentient being, dude. You can't let that die. And then I'm gonna try to drive that
I
shit.
know, huh?
I'm gonna try
You think
to
you're gonna do better than he did?
You know, I'm gonna try to help you out, and you know, if you die or whatever, that sucks, man. But I really want to try to drive this.
Definitely going.
Notice how
I'm definitely going through the control
Oh
program.
man, I'm gonna take pictures inside. I'm gonna
our atmosphere.
take that thing with me. You know what I mean? We're dragging that behind the Durango. Look at it. That's going with me. But that's what that's how the government feels too. Notice how they don't ever say, "Hey, that came into our atmosphere, out from our atmosphere."
It's a light
Have you noticed that?
frequency. Obviously,
They're not like diving in from our atmosphere, burning, coming back through the atmosphere. They're never like that. They just appear out of
They're
nowhere
not part of our cycle. They're million. Most of them, I bet, are millions. of
because
years
they're
old.
just of a different
But that's
vibration,
what we become. Remember that.
appearing
That's what
here
we're gonna
in our
become.
vibration.
Energy
The light
never dies. Don't be scared of
Obviously,
death. Energy
that's how
never
your
dies.
retina's reading.
They're manifesting in our cycle, is what it
And
is.
if they can measure
They're
the
literally
energy coming out of
manifesting
your
themselves
brain,
into our
the only
cycle.
thing that you can't let go.
They're not part of our cycle. They're
the
millions.
only
Most of them, I
thing
bet,
that
are
you don't
millions
ever
of
let
years
go is
old.
the stuff that you
But that's what we
hold.
become. Remember that. That's what we're gonna become. Energy never dies.
And it
Don't be
always
scared of
gets
death.
better.
Other energy never
Don't
dies.
hide stuff in the fog, right?
It moves on. It's proven.
True.
And if they can measure the energy coming out of
The
your
only thing
brain,
that
Well, you guys,
can't
that
let
was
go.
a pretty deep.
Like the only thing that you don't ever let go is the stuff that you
direction we normally go.
hold,
Um,
that you
that's
fight.
And you feed.
Yeah.
Well, it's what you feed, right?
Talk about whatever
It always
we
gets better.
want.
Yeah.
Hide stuff in
So
the
that
fog,
was
right?
awesome. There's a lot of notes. I honestly look forward to. I mean, I'm going to go learn about
Dang.
the Hermetic laws.
Well, you guys,
I'm
that
gonna
was a
go
pretty
learn
deep,
about,
whole lot of
Carl,
conversation there. It's a little different than the direction we normally
Carl
go.
Jung, the Red Book
And that's
and the Black
why it's
Book.
the
All right,
ADHD
read some of
Express,
that
is because we could
stuff.
talk about whatever we want. So
So
that was awesome. There's a lot of notes. I honestly look forward to. I mean, I'm going to go learn about the Hermetic laws. I'm going to go learn about Carl Jung.
Yeah, Carl Jung,
Jung,
the Red Book and
Yeah,
the
I
Black
read
Book.
some of that stuff. I'm going to probably do a little bit more research into
Honestly,
these people that wrote the first Bible. I kind of want to track some of that back and like kind of do some more research on that.
they are they're when you chase them back, they're pyramid priests.
Really cool.
That wrote that book, the very first versions,
Nothing
right?
who wrote the Bible are pyramid priests. I promise.
Because then King James, they
You read back
just
through there, you'll
rewrote
see.
it.
King James just took out what he wanted, put what he wanted here, said this, said that, put over here. You can do that. He mixed that thing
that's
up
why
crazy,
they
dude.
found things were really cool. The scrolls that they found in the caves.
The Dead Sea
Yeah.
Scrolls. So the Dead Sea Scrolls are cool, but they're just scrolls, dude.
They're the Jesuit people that were the most
They're
ripped.
tablets, dude. You remember
That
that?
disappeared. No one ever saw them again, and they
So
found
nobody-
their
so
temple.
people-
would not repeat the same cycle.
So
Well,
thank
they
God for
learned how to
our
write
ancient
things
history
down
for
because
they
leaving
were
tablets
they
for
were
us
losing
to
things
review
because-
history. Because why would those people just be writing stuff down? You think they're just writing
yeah.
non-fiction books? They're not like us. They were writing down what was happening around them. They were
So, hey, guys, this
scribes.
was awesome. Thank you for coming
So
on the show,
we
John.
would
appreciate
not
all your
repeat the
insights.
same
They
cycle.
learned how to
But we
write
are.
things
So-
down
You
because
guys
they
know
were
the drill.
realizing they
Give
were
us a like, give us a
losing.
follow, throw us
It was
a
good to meet
comment
you
if
guys.
know about the
I'm out.
Anunnaki, if you know about
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
oh,
hang
yeah.
out.
Well, hey, thanks for coming on. You guys, if you did you shut it off yet? Don't shut it off yet. Hang on. No. So, hey, you guys, this was awesome. Thank you for coming on the show, John. We appreciate all your insights. A lot of stuff to look up. You guys know the drill. Give us a like, give us a follow, throw us a comment if you know about the Anunnaki, if you know about the origins of some of this stuff. Man, give us a comment. Give us some topics to go down. And yeah, thanks for tuning in. Have a great day.
What was your favorite?
What was your favorite subject? Comment. Yeah.